We start at the bottom, rock bottom of the chess FIDE rating system. Do you want to increase your chess rating by 100 FIDE points? Then you've come to the right place. The lowest rating possible on lichess is 600. I show you how you can also climb the chess rating ladder from 600 to 700 in this one video. There will be many games that I filmed live. I explain how I think and play at the same time, so you can hear my thoughts in real time. Let's see how to increase from 600 to 623 to 643, 657, 677, 696, and then we have the final game. To make this video as useful as possible, I've put timestamps below for each game. Knight f3, controlling the e5 square. Knight c6. It looks like black might want to get an e5 himself, so now I can stop it with d4. d5, and now I'm going to go g3 to give yourself the chance to go g3, bishop g2, and then castle. Very sensible way to play. How could black treat this position? Maybe the bishop comes out to attack b4. Now I'll castle, and you can see this is the King's Indian attack. Very sensible way to play. And already in just 5 moves, I have got my pieces, got my king safe. I'm starting out with a rating of 600 on lichess. h5, very aggressive, trying to attack me, fair enough. Now when my opponent does this, I can actually attack the center. So I'm going to open up this diagonal for my bishop. Now when this capture happens, now I can play using this pin. So I can actually play this move, queen a4. Creating a bit of pressure on that diagonal, and already my opponent rated 747 has blundered. b5, attacking the queen, but I can just take it. And already he's in big trouble. And here, another blunder. This knight, there was a pawn there, now I can take the knight with check, and I'm picking up almost everything. He has to block with the knight, because if he blocks with the queen, I can actually take the rook in the corner. And then it's basically game over. He has to block with the queen. And now, when you're winning, what's a very sensible thing to do? You can trade. The funny thing is I can actually play knight e5, because then the bishop actually protects the queen in the corner, which is such a weird thing to actually have happen. But I'm going to be sensible. I'm going to trade and then play knight e5, because I'm attacking f7 and the bishop on g4. My opponent misses it, and this is a nice fork, winning the rook. So it's pretty cool. In one game I've won both rooks in each corner, so that's pretty cool. My opponent plans to trap the knight. Good. Now I'll go knight c3, because then I can get e4 in. And my opponent resigns, so that is a really good start. So let's quickly summarize this game. Knight f3, knight c6, d4, d5, and we are all good here. And the first critical moment was c4. By the way, if you are afraid of your opponent attacking you on that flank, you can always play h4 yourself, just to stop any of their nonsense. Now, I wasn't afraid because I knew I could strike in the center. This tends to be a typical way to react when your opponent attacks you on the flank. You can attack, you can strike in the center. So c4. One way for black to continue was e6, just keep the center solid. That's what I would have played, and then take, and then something like this. The knight can come up. But I was probably going to act really fast and play knight in the middle, something like this. My opponent is getting on with his action on the king side, so I need to strike in the center, and one way for me to do that is I've already played this pawn trade. Now I get a knight in the center, but really I'm getting the bishop in the center as well. This queen can come out as well. The queen can come out here, by the way, to hit b7. This is another idea because this bishop is outside. Now back to game c4. He took queen a4. My plan was actually to recapture the pawn. I have this pin, so queen d7 and then recapture something like this. But my opponent blundered, and after this he blundered the knight again. A good move here is queen d7, just defending, but then after take, I think I'm crashing through already. And then the rest of the game, well, I just won the rook in the corner. You're winning, trade queens off, and then I win the other rook, and that is game. On to the next one. I've increased my rating from 600 to 623. Let's go again. e4, c5. I'm going to go through the Sicilian. White controls the light square in the center, but black controls a dark square, also controlling b4 as well. Now knight c3, so here I'm going to get a knight out, furthering control of the center. Now after knight c3, my opponent wants to go d4, so that's possible. I can allow him. I can actually stop it with a move like e5, actually clamping down. So because I don't want him to go d4, this is one way to play. As a Sicilian player, I played it throughout my career. We are controlling dark squares. This is going to be a theme. White is controlling the light squares. Let's go d6, another pawn on the dark square. And with this structure, it looks like I can just get the bishop out. But I actually want to go here to give it a more active square. Now, guys, just want to show you, if knight here, that is actually checkmate, which is pretty funny in one move. So I'll put the bishop out here first. b3. And knight f6 is possible, but later I want to get an attack. So I am actually going to put the knight here instead. Now I can take and then reroute the knight. So that is one option, just to change the structure. So I'm actually going to do that. Take, he takes back, and then now this knight goes to e7 as well. With this move, I'm putting pressure in the center. I can castle next. Now my opponent throws in a check, but I can just block, and that's fine. a4, and now I can castle. Actually, I can take the pawn in the center. So I'll grab the pawn first, and then I can castle. So my opponent has missed that, but that's worked out well for me. Next up, castle. Next is also a dangerous move like e4. When I castle, I can also get f5 in as well. I might actually go for a trade here because his bishop is very well placed. Now he attacks me, so I'm going to put the knight here because the knight looks very aggressive. If you're not sure where to put your knight, well, I could have just retreated, then continue with castle. My opponent is very aggressive. I'm actually quite shocked with that move. d4, hey. Very cool move. Now, I didn't expect him to be able to play that. Now, if I take. Wow, did not expect that. Okay, I'm actually going to go e4 to lock it up first. Yeah, I'm going to go e4. With this move, I attack the knight. I'm using the pin on this diagonal. If he pins me, I can castle, let's say. So that's one idea, and he might get his pawn back, but that's all right. If rook e1, I might actually go f5 first to hold on to my pawn. He goes queen e1, fair enough. Now I can go f5, so I think I will go for that shot. Yeah, let's defend my pawn. Then I'm ready to castle. I've still got this pin working out in my favor, and now he's blundered. Fantastic. My opponent is playing very fast for a 721. Now he's blundered his bishop, so now I can take it. So this diagonal was always open for me. Rook d1, and now I'm safe. Let's castle. Knight is under attack. And here, when he moves the knight to that square, he's actually blundered because now the queen can take. And when that happens, the queen is now attacking g2, which is mate. So he doesn't actually have time to take the bishop. So he's blundered another piece. So that's worked out very well for us. Checkmate here, so he cannot take this. So he's got to stop it with a move like g3. And he's fallen for it. If he played g3, I would have traded, but that is a nice checkmate. So yeah, very nice game. 623, we are up 20 points. Let's go for another game. knight f3, controlling e5 once again. This is going to be what I'm going to do in these kind of games. Let's go g3, very sensible way. So the setups I'm teaching you are long term. He is blocking in his pawn. Let's go. Let's get our pieces out. Bishop g2. And we will castle. Very sensible way to play. Now, he might go e5, so I'm going to go d4 because I'm controlling it a few times. Now I'll go c4. With 2 pawns here, I'm controlling all these squares. Now let's go knight c3 because I might get an e4. Ah, very interesting. Now bishop attacks this pawn. Very interesting. Now I've got a few ways to defend it, and I'm going to play a very sensible move, just b3. Pawn chain here. 2 pawns, cover these squares. Every piece is good on the king side. We have the King's Indian setup. Now my opponent, he wants to go b5. Fair enough with this move. Now the good thing is I've got 2 pawns in the center, but when I start off with the King's Indian attack, which is knight, pawn, bishop, castle, well, now I can get a 3rd pawn in the center with e4, and this looks very impressive. Every single square covered with these guys. So I really like my position. In my opinion, it's really a perfect position because I've got the center. My king is safe. Really, I've got 2 pieces in front of my king. Knight h5, he gets out the way because I was actually threatening if we go back and move e5 to win a piece. So let's go here. e4, knight h5, right. Now I can just kick his bishop. I can even go d5 to kick him that way. So I've got a few ways to kick him. I could go e5, the bishop moves, and then d5. Literally kicking him back on each move. I could go d5 first, so here I'm actually going to pick one of them. I'll go d5. Nice structure here. A capture means I just take back, and my opponent has blundered a knight. So that's what I'm noticing so far. I attack a piece, but at the moment at this level, my opponents are just chucking a piece. So I'm going to take that. And now actually I've got this threat as well, so he has missed that as well. So I've won a knight and I'm about to win a 2nd minor piece. And to be honest, it's move 12, and in my opinion I haven't done anything spectacular. I've just put my pieces on good squares and my opponent has blundered. Let's actually be consistent. I'm winning, so let's trade queens and then let's take that. So I'm up 2 pieces. This bishop is really bad. You could think of it like I'm up 3 pieces. That bishop is not in the game. Let's find a way to trade. A good move here is bishop h6. You want to look out for these kind of moves because you get a piece in the game with tempo. You hit the rook and then you get your piece in the game. And my opponent has actually resigned. So a very smooth game. Rating 643. I am now up 14 points. Let's go to the next one. e4, c5. Sicilian again. We control a central dark square. My opponent knows what he's doing. This is called a bind. White is fighting for control of a light square, and the key square to fight for white is d5. So I'm going to continue to fight for my central square. My opponent is set up in a triangle structure. Now I'm going to go g6. The reason I do this is because now I get bishop. Not only is it controlling the diagonal, but I control the dark square 3 times. My opponent blocks with his pawn. My opponent has made 4 pawn moves. 784 rating on lichess. Now I'm going to break up this structure straight away with d6. Now if he takes, I'm going to get my queen in the game. And the cool thing is my opponent has blundered with knight f3 because actually I was attacking this 1, 2, 3 times. So he's blundered. But my opponent is only defending it twice, so I can win a pawn. Now we take, and then we can take back. Pawn up. I have this perfect bishop on this diagonal. Once again, I keep saying it, but it is an emphasis. It really is about controlling the dark square, the d4 square. This is fighting in the Sicilian. And the cool thing is, for me, my opponent has blundered again. He's pushed his pawn, and now I can take it. There are a few ways to take. I can take with the queen, bishop, or pawn, but I'm going to take with the bishop because in my opinion this is a perfect bishop. It's the star player. I've never seen a bishop that good. You want to enforce it with a center as well. I can go e5. The cool thing is he can't castle, so I'm just going to go here. Look at this. Perfect piece. Queen h4 check is an idea. He can go g3 at the moment, but there's no need for that. Check g3. Knight e7. I can even go f5 now. One sensible way to continue is knight here and then castle. But I've got one pawn in the center, so I'm going to get another pawn first, threatening a move like e4. Trying to run him over, you could say. e4, I think I'm just coming in, so now I can go. Whenever this move is played, a square is left behind, so one option is to hop straight in. Now I can kick his bishop away as well. So firstly, I'm going to kick him. Nice pawn chain, which is pretty cool. Do you remember in the previous game, this chain was seen as well. Beautiful pawn chain. I am up a pawn, and he sacrifices actually. Take. Now, it's quite dangerous because now, notice, my opponent has sacrificed a knight for 2 pawns, but his king is in the center. Because he couldn't castle, because I had my star player stopping him castling. Now, because his bishop is lined up, I'm just going to pin him. Use this pin, and my opponent has pre-moved with b3. That could be a blunder, and now I can take with check. He missed it. He missed this, and now if he goes here, I can trade. I mean, we saw this theme in the previous 2 games, even the 3 games. I'm winning material by quite a lot, maybe 2 knights, a rook as well, like in the first game where I won the guy's rooks in both corners. Now here, I'm winning, so I'm going to trade queens, and then I'm going to take the rook in the corner as well. I don't see why not. And then I will be up so much material, the game should be over. So what am I up? A rook, a bishop, a knight. I've just circled the 3 pieces that I have that he doesn't. Rook, bishop, knight, 5, 3, 3. 5 plus 6 is 11. I'm up 11 points. So now that's a check, but who cares? It's a check. Doesn't mean you throw it in. So no, I'm not going to throw in a check. There's no point. Bishop there, and now I can actually castle here, which might be pretty cool. Let's just get the king out the way, and then we got a check as well. This rook is, yeah. Oh gosh, I blundered. Yeah, I didn't see that, but it's okay because I'm still completely winning. Let's throw in a check now. Where is his king going? So I'm putting a question. His king is in the center, so let's throw in another check. Let's get this one in the game. Couple of rooks, controlling the files. Oops, I meant that one. Okay, that's an interesting move. Right, now I'm going to go rook here. Yeah, because now the king has to go back, and I've got a lot of material, but I've got 1 minute 04. But that's what happens when I talk and play at the same time. He's only got one move, king g3, and I can go knight h5 to check him. Then the king moves, and then the rook, my other rook can come in, and it should be really strong. So I'm actually going to pre-move that, and then my rook can come in somehow. Let's get my rook in to f2. His king can go there, so now rook f2. By the way, he can't go rook here because the bishop takes it, so that's a pretty cool feature. His rook cannot get on any file. Right, let's go rook here. Now I'm in. Couple of rooks on the 7th rank tends to be deadly. Now we can throw in a check. Just want to show you a nice mating pattern. When check happens, the king goes in the corner, and then knight g3 is mate. So check, only move, and then the knight can come in. Game over. So my opponent might resign because that is a mate. Now there's another mate, I think, here, and then the bishop can come in as well. But that's not necessary. I can go knight g3, checkmate. So 6:57, we are up 20 points. Let's go again. e4, c5. Here we go. My opponent is 8-20 and is going for checkmate. Oh, on f7, I mean. but also attacks the pawn. That's just an idea I wanted to show. So really, this is one idea. For black, you have a pawn chain. You don't know where to put your pawns, make sure they all defend each other. Bishop c4. My opponent is very aggressive, coming in on f7. And a good way to block is with the pawn. That's it. There's no 4-move checkmate. A lot of people try to 4-move checkmate, but I've just stopped it. And his queen is actually misplaced. We can attack it with knight f6. Then I can get the bishop out, and then I can castle. Now my opponent has thrown in check, so I can block with the bishop. Done. And if he takes, I can take with the queen or the knight. So really, what's happened is my opponent has wasted a move. He's decided to change his mind. So he's wasted a move, really, because it was there anyway, and I've got a piece out. Knight f6. I'm just going to attack the queen, but also attack his center pawn. This pawn tends to be a target for black in the Sicilian, and the funny thing is, this is white's first move, e4. e4, c5, but the e4 pawn is a target. Queen e2, defending, fair enough. Now I'll get my bishop out, and I'm ready to castle, so that's one option. By the way, when black has 2 pawns in the center, I'm controlling these squares. Let's castle. They are blacks, so is that one. Now I plan to get my knight in the game as well, coming soon. Knight g5, so what is my opponent going for? I believe they are after something on a light square, because that's, you can see that's what happened on move 3, queen h5, bishop c4, targeting my light squares. Now, it doesn't do anything, and his king is still in the center. Now I can play a normal move, which is good, because then the knight can come in here. But I'm actually going to strike now with d5. If you take, I can take, and he can't take back because knight. Now the bishop comes in, and here is a very unusual moment because the bishop is actually behind a pawn. Don't do this in your own games. You've blocked in your own d pawn. And now I believe I can trap the bishop with c4. Gorgeous pawn chain, shutting, winning the bishop. His queen is blocked in, so this has worked out very well. Now just going back here, just to explain, take. Actually the bishop's trapped, isn't it? Yeah, because bishop here, then I can go c4 anyway, it's trapped. The bishop can't come out because the bishop takes it. So already I am winning this. Now I'm going to take with tempo. Don't need to take, because when I take this, I attack the queen, then I can take back. And I can take with the pawn, or I take with the knight. Now this bishop attacks the queen. I've got perfect knight in the center with a few options. This knight can come out. This bishop was here, right? Well, it can come out here. Now my opponent is threatening checkmate with the queen and knight. But the problem is I can just take his knight, and that's what he missed. If I couldn't take the knight, I would have just blocked with move like g6. So same situation as in the previous games. I'm up a lot of material here. What am I up? I got an extra bishop and a pawn, I think. Time to develop. Notice this is what my opponent is not doing. Only the queen has come out to do a few things, danced around. You've lost your bishop, you've come back. Nothing here, all at home doing nothing. Whereas I've got every single minor piece out. Knight, knight. Bishop, bishop. This knight can come in the center. My opponent is still only using one piece in the attack. That is not good. So knight in here is a good one. Couple of knights, they look gorgeous in my opinion. Planning knight c2, winning the rook. Now, is my opponent going to miss it? Well, my opponent might need to play a move like king d1 just to stop it. But everything is looking great. Knight a3 is another move to stop it, yep. Now, here, it stops it. Now, this knight is very well placed. Octopus knight, you could say. Oops, sorry, here. Now I'm going to get this knight in. Just literally dancing around. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Literally controlling every square. Something's going to drop for him. Now I can take this pawn, but I'm going to throw in a discovery first because the bishop attacks the queen. He can't take me because the queen defends it. Queen g3. And now something really, I mean something's going to fall. Maybe bishop here, just keep attacking him. Bishop defends queen. Queen has to move. If it goes here, I win the queen with a fork. And that's exactly what happened. By the way, his queen couldn't have gone to any other square. So really, this is the fork that wins the queen. Check. Can't go here because of that one, so I'm going to go here and pick up the queen. So that's what happens. You can see I'm playing an 820 on lichess. They got the queen out, the bishop out, it didn't do anything. You only got 2 pieces in the attack, and really what happened is I took your pieces. I took the knight, and I'm going to take the queen now. Check. Then I can move the knight. You see, he attacks my knight, but notice this is a vulnerable spot. So I'm actually going to play queen f6 first to target f2. Because moving my knight away from the center, in my opinion, is a boring move. It's the predictable move. You attack me, so I move it away, right? Wrong. Boring. Do something more interesting, which is to create a bigger threat. Queen f6 means I'm going to win the game next. And I can't see a move to stop it. And looking at this, there was no move. So we're going to just get on h3. By the way, this bishop can come in the game as well. That was very strong. Bishop h3, check, couple of bishops, king here, check. The bishop can come back, and there's actually a mate here as well. So I just want to show you this. Now, this is mate, but I'm actually going to play this one just to show you another checkmating pattern. The king goes here, then queen here, then king goes here, and then the queen goes here. So I'm just showing you this other mating pattern because the knight actually defends the e2 square, rather than playing queen takes f2, just to make it a little bit more instructive. So I'm going to go check. The king moves, then we got mate here. Now I can take the rook, but it's not mate. And then queen here would be mate, but irrelevant. So that is a very nice game in the Sicilian. It worked out really well. That's what happens when you only get your queen out, your bishop out. Really what happens is, to be honest, the better player will start taking your pieces and then play better moves anyway. My rating is 677 plus 19. Let's go again. 696. Let's go. Knight f3. So this is the King's Indian attack. G3, 1, 2, and we're safe. 4 moves or 5 moves just to be safe. Now, when my opponent does this, it is clear my opponent wants to grab the light square. But the problem is, they can't ever play e5 because I now control it. I can do this as well next. So I can play d4 now, or I can just go bishop g2 first. Then I'm castle. That's it. 4 moves, mate. 4 moves, I am safe. That's it. It's such a good opening, and that's why I'm explaining it to you. Chess is a very long-term game. I'm not here to play gambits, I'm here to play long-term good openings. Now, d4 is a move to control the square, but I'm just going to castle first. Now, I think he might put his bishop here. He might go c5 as well to control. Now, that's not a good move because you're blocking your c pawn. A good strategy is, if you don't know what pawns to move, always give yourself the option to move the 3 center pawns, the c, d, and the e. He's blocked his pawn. So now I'm going to go d4. And we saw this in the previous King's Indian attack. Controlling e5, right. Now I can play a move like c4, which we saw in the first game. Another option, guys, is to play b3. When I do this, I can put the bishop on this diagonal, which controls this pawn, which controls this. I can also flick in a move like c4. Never be afraid of c4, because you can always get that pawn back. So that's actually what I'm going to do. Because we are playing openings for the long term. These are proper chess openings to help you in your career. This is not a pawn, because I can always get it back. Just to show you another way, knight d2 gets it back. This was one way that happened in the first game, oops, where I can get it back this way. So here, both look good. I'm going to go queen a4, because it stops this knight moving, and there's no good way for him to defend that pawn. By the way, this is called a backward pawn. Really, black would want that back to defend it. This is actually a huge weakness. So now I can take the pawn, right. He can actually play e5 to get rid of that weakness. That would be impressive if he did. How can black continue just get the pieces out? Right, now I'm going to maybe get my piece out or get a knight out. If I go b3, then the bishop can come out to a3 as well. So I think I might play that as a flexible move. Let me have a think. Yeah, because I'm not too sure, let's just play knight c3, controlling the center. This queen, guys, you might think it looks a bit weird, but it's all right. He's got this horrible backward pawn. And if he castles, I want to explain this high-level idea. Well, in my opinion, it's a high-level idea where you control the dark squares. I was going to play bishop f4 next. I'll probably play that soon anyway. Knight a5 attacks the queen. And I'm just going to drop it back here. Why not? In the center. It looks like I've just gone up, but notice I actually went here, took the pawn and came back. It's still on the same spot. This knight is on the edge, controlling c4. Black might want to get in c5 later. He might castle as well. And I want to fight for that square, so I might go here. Bishop out to f4. Because if he takes, now I have a huge grip on the center. When I move the bishop, I can put a rook in the center. And now I'm fighting for central control. It's going well. My opponent is thinking that's a good sign. Right, queen c6. Wow, did not expect that. Look out for a move like this, because today it is not good because it's on the same diagonal as the bishop. So I'm going to play something known as a discovered attack. I can move the knight away. And then it actually attacks the queen at the same time. So let's play knight e5. This is a good move anyway, because it's just in the middle. Now, is there a better move? I don't think d5 is good. So knight e5 attacks. And this. So he might have missed it. This piece, perhaps at this level, about 800 on lichess, they are missing discovered attacks, and we can see it. It is very easy to miss that I've got a bishop on g2. Now it is attacking the queen. He's got to move it. Queen here or queen here. And then this queen is sidestepped a little bit. Now when that happens, I expect, let's say queen here, then I'm going to get a piece out. Another piece out. Maybe the bishop can come out as well. Probably bishop f4 or bishop g5. Interesting. You know what? I might continue my theme of going for a discovered attack just to make this video as instructive as possible. If he moves the queen here, then I might actually go bishop here, because then I can open up. He's offered a trade, but unfortunately that's a blunder, because after take, he's forgotten that this bishop can actually take the rook in the corner. This is bringing back good memories from the first game where I won the guy's rook, so this is really cool. I'm going to take, he's going to take back, and then I can pick up the rook. So this is what I'm noticing at this level. People are chucking rooks in their corners because they're forgetting about, let's say, a powerful diagonal piece, like the bishop or the queen, like we saw in the first game. I'm up a rook. It's going well. Castle. This is a good idea. If you're not sure what to do and you are winning, just bring that piece back so then you don't forget about it. Just bring it back, and it can go here or here. And just for good practice, I'm going to put it back on this spot. No point going all the way back. I could have put it here, but I'm just want to make this video as useful as possible. Just put it back on where it was. Now, this attacks, threatens a trade, but it doesn't matter, does it? Because I'm up a rook. So now, what's something sensible to do? Well, I can retreat the knight, but my knight is perfect in the middle. Let's not do that. I can just get my piece out. I don't see why not. So let's just go here. I mean, I am up a rook, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to get this rook in the game. And this. Just put your two rooks in the center. You don't know what to do. Knight is perfect. Bishop is perfect, controlling a dark square. Let's just take. I'm up a rook. I mean, it's just a pawn capture. It's not going to change anything. Now, hopefully he takes, and I just want to show this nice instructive moment, because when we play chess at a high level, you tend to get this setup, which is now, you see this knight on e5, it's perfect basically, but I want to show you this construction. When there's a pawn on e2, it's actually perfect to put a knight on d3, because this knight is defended and is a perfect knight, and we see this in the Catalan opening. My opponent has forgotten that I attacked his bishop, which might be a difficult move to see, because at the lower levels, when I retreat my knight, backward knight moves are very difficult anyway. Now he forgets that I can actually take the bishop. Let's kick the knight. I've got 46 seconds, he's got 9 seconds, game over. And he's forgotten about his knight, so that's what I've noticed, yeah, when you attack a piece, players tend to forget it. That's just a pawn, might as well take it. And then I might as well just get my other knight in as well. A couple of knights just dancing around the board. And here he's thrown a bishop in, and I can just take it as well. A couple of knights just dancing, it's just, well, all the pieces have fallen. So that is the first video in this rating climb on my channel. I hope you found it very instructive. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Many games with white, many games with black, been going through the King's Indian attack and the Sicilian. We began our rating at 600, which is the lowest possible rating on lichess. Now up to 715. We keep going in future videos. Let me know if you found this useful. Do you want to see another video like this going from 700 to 800? Then let me know in the comments. If you found this video useful, please give it a like, because it really does help me grow as a chess YouTuber.